Oops, that one. Where'd he go? Yeah.
In the time of desperate need, when I am thinking not too clearly, a gentle voice does intercede. Slow down, slow down, be still and wait on the Spirit of the Lord. Slow down and hear His voice and know that He is in the time of tribulation.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Ashford Community Church. Those of you that are with us here in the building, in the main hall, and the children and the teachers in the back, good morning. And those of you watching online, good morning to you too. We're glad you could join us today. We've just been listening to a song, Slow Down, which tells us that it is a lot easier to hear God's voice when you're quiet. We need to still ourselves sometimes in order to be able to hear God clearly. Okay, that's the lesson we've got from that today. Today we'll be continuing in the same vein. Our pastor's been teaching us along the same lines, and today he's going to be talking about simplicity. Hopefully, that will help us to understand the subject a little more and to know how to rest in God's presence. Okay? I'm sure you'll be blessed by that. As we start today then, I'd like to invite us to join. If you know the songs, please sing. We're going to be singing, Come to the Father.
I'd like you to look at the words before we start singing this. These will be completely new words to everyone here. Yet you'll know the tune very, very well. The words were written to this well-known tune by our very own Abby. And we're going to sing them today. The first two verses fit very easily into the tune. The third verse, a little bit trickier, so try and follow us at the front. And we give thanks for the gifts that are given to each one of us. And we give thanks for the gift of poetry and wordcraft that has been given to Abby. So let's stand and sing together.
Abby would normally have been here today, but because they've closed the roads all the way around the town, she can't get out.
Right, so for those who weren't able to hear that, a lot of people haven't been able to get in today because of the roads all being closed for the run. Let's stand if we're able to and sing, Come to the Father. Well-known truth. Come to the Father, all you who need rest. Lay down your burdens in His peacefulness. Take up His service, His yoke in His arms. Give Him your troubles and rest in His sight. Come to the Shepherd, your worries lay bare. Surrender your heart here and know that He cares. He will protect you with staff in His hand. Down by still waters on green pastured land. Be filled with the Spirit of the Lord our God. Path that you walk He has already trod. In quiet assurance let Him guide your choice as you soak in the presence of His still small voice. Well done. Let's go straight into Be Still. Be still for the presence of the Lord, the Holy One is here. Come
I was going to say, please be seated, but okay. You're welcome once again. And at this time, I'd like to invite, Pastor Pete to come and share with us in the continuing series of the elimination of hurry. But was in a hurry to get to it, so.
Thank you. Hey, good morning, everyone. Hope you're all well and not feeling hurried or stressed this morning. I hope you've had a week which has been a week of peace and quiet, no problems, everything good. I hope that you've come sort of floating on spiritual air, and as we should be. But all the researchers say that hurry, and the stress, the worry, the anxiety, the fear, the sleeplessness, the illness that we have endemic within our society at this time is grounded on the fact that we are all in a culture of hurry. More to do, less time to do it in, more, and we're looking at what is the solution. What is God's solution to this culture of hurry in which we live that Dallas Willard says we must ruthlessly eliminate? Well, I believe that Jesus' next lesson is that the elimination of a culture of hurry is to learn to live the good life. For those of a certain age amongst us, we will remember the cult TV program that began in 1975 and finished in 1978. 50 years ago. Yes. Hurry and the stress that goes with it was already a huge problem. And this cult program was answering and dealing with that. It is the story of a young married couple very much in love with each other. The romantic story of a couple who make a decision to pull out of the rat race. There's a rat race then, there's an even bigger rat race now. This rat race they described in the very first episode as the need to escape from the prison of working longer and longer hours, kowtowing to harsher and harsher bosses. Why? Just to make more money, to buy more things that break more often, rot more readily, and get stolen more consistently. So this couple returned to a life that they called the good life, a simpler life, where they were growing their own food, living without cash, without cars, without TVs, without telephones, and without having to buy more and more clothes. For 4 series this program goes on. Even at the end of series 4, when the home has been trashed by burglars, their land has been polluted by an oil leak, they raise their glasses and say that this return to the simple life has been the best time they have ever had in the whole of their lives. A simple life. A simple life. And the fact that this program, The Good Life, became such a popular classic, I believe is testimony to the reality that people hanker in their hearts after something just a little bit simpler than what we have today. I believe that's why it was watched by so many people maybe just a little bit because of Felicity Kendall as well. But we'll put that to one side. I believe that Jesus knows that we're living in a society which is caught up in the rat race. It always has been, but never more so than today. And Jesus offers us a way out of the rat race of busyness, hurry, and anxiety. And this is the way out, a way of rest, peace, and contentment. We're going to read it again. Jesus says, "Come to me." This is your way out. All of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I'm gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And what we're looking at over these weeks of study is, what is Jesus' easy yoke that's going to lift the burdens and the worry and the weariness and the hurry from our lives? And this session is the simplicity of the Christian life. A return to the good life, a simple life. Okay, we have a choice. Our choice is the yoke of simplicity, or as we mentioned last week, the yoke of complexity, the devil's yoke. Jesus says, "Take my yoke on you, my yoke is easy." But Satan has a yoke, and he's got most of our society to wear that yoke. And it's a yoke to be busy, being under Satan's yoke. Jesus invites us to take on the yoke of simplicity. That this lifestyle of simplicity, and I'm going to keep saying that word over and over again so you at least go away and remember, simplicity is what Jesus calls us to bear. Take the simple life, and then all the burdens will be lifted, all the rat race will go, and we'll come to find that this lifestyle is easy. Because the devil's yoke is a yoke that is heavy, and it's an evil yoke, and it's to keep us busy. We have been born into and live in a society which has a new gospel. It's not the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's the gospel of consumerism. And if you don't believe me, then read a lot of what the Americans and the English who are into business say. They say consumerism is the good news. What's consumerism? Let's buy lots of pretty, shiny things. We've got to get more and more. And how do we get more and more? By earning more and more money. And how do we get more and more money? By working harder and longer and longer hours. The gospel of consumerism is Satan's false gospel. The false gospel, remember, gospel means good news, and this is the gospel of consumerism. It is this: the more you have, the happier you're going to be. TV, internet, social media tells us this: happiness is just one more dress away. Happiness is one new phone, one new computer, a brand new car, another holiday. You get these and you'll be happy. And this is the carrots that consumerism is dangling in front of us, but behind every carrot is a stick. And the stick of the gospel of consumerism is this. It's a huge stick, and it's a stick of work, worry, stress, anxiety, because that's the only way you're going to get there. Because you are not going to be the one who wins the national lottery. And neither is Auntie Mabel going to leave you £1 million in her will. It's always to someone else. It's a false gospel. It's Satan's lie. I'm going to give you 4 lies of Satan in the gospel of consumerism. Number 1, consumerism will make you happy. The more you get, the happier you will be. It is a lie. Consumerism gives you a burden of choice, and it's a heavy yoke of choice. You've got to have a brand new car. And not only have you got to have a brand new car, but there are countless models out there. The days when Brian was able to just choose a Model T Ford, they're long gone. Kias, Toyotas, Mercedes, BMWs. They're choice after choice after choice. Which one? You've got to wear the latest clothes. But not only are there the latest clothes, but you've got a myriad of shops to go to. You just go down the outlet centre, shop after shop after shop. Clothes, buy me, buy me, buy me. And if you don't want to go to the shops, then look online. There are even more shops online to buy new clothes. How many shoes do you need, for goodness sake? Well, 2's better than 1, Dudley. Yes. And we're confused by the complexity of choice in the gospel of consumerism. You've got to watch the latest show on TV. When I was growing up, there were 3 channels, BBC One, BBC Two and ITV, and then Channel 4 came in, and that was a huge step. Now there are hundreds of channels to watch from, and you've got to watch all these programs. This is part of the gospel of consumerism, and we're confused, and we're weighed down by the choice. It goes on and on and on. The story is told, and this is a specific reason why this picture, that's the incredible picture, isn't it? It's told. The true story is told of a missionary couple who had served for many, many years in the poverty of the third world. They came home on furlough to New York City. And they were bombarded by the lights and the noise and the glamour of New York City. But they fell to pieces totally when they went to their local store to shop for food. Because they couldn't cope with the myriad of choices that were there. And things came to a head when they went down the breakfast cereal aisle. And in front of them, in their description, were 50 different options of breakfast cereal. They broke at that point, dropped their bags and ran out the shop. Because the burden of consumerism and the complexity of choice literally overwhelmed them. Satan's lie number 2 in the gospel of consumerism. Lie number 1, complexity. You've got choice. Lie number 2, you have to have more to be happy. More to be happy. More clothing, more shoes, more TVs, more books, more music, more stuff in your home. And how do you get more? You get more by earning more. How do you earn more? By working harder and longer hours, fighting to get more and more pay. And then you've got to constantly throw away what you've got, what is complete. Why do we throw away stuff that's not broken? We throw it away to get new stuff. Why do we throw away clothes that have not worn out? Because the latest consumerism tells us you've got to get the latest fashions. Thank God that here we're not troubled by that too much. We've got to keep up with the Joneses. Get that new car that you don't need, that new phone that you don't need. Satan's lie number 3 is this in the gospel of consumerism. That once you've got it, you've got to keep it. You've got to hoard it. You've got to make sure that no one else gets it. Because it's mine. It's mine. It's mine, I tell you, all mine. And then we get panicky because what if someone steals? What if someone breaks in? What if someone takes what's mine? And then we get caught in the rat race of the stress of keeping it secret from other people, storing it, insuring it, just in case, and the stress levels begin to rise and rise and rise. Satan's lie number 4 in the gospel of consumerism comes back to how we started. The gospel of consumerism, Satan's gospel, is this: the more you get, the happier you'll be. It's a lie. In fact, research has shown quite clearly this. As our nation's wealth has gone up, so our nation's happiness has gone down. And I'll never forget a beautiful holiday that I had in Egypt many, many years ago, whereas we got off the coach, all of us with our smart summer clothes, and our cameras, and our camcorders, and our money, and we walked off the coach. A shabbily dressed Egyptian man was sitting on a wall, shaking his head with a smile on his face, and he just kept saying this to us all as we got off the bus: "You poor, poor people." And I remember saying to the guide who was with us, "Why is he saying you poor, poor people? What's he talking about?" And she said, because he recognizes, in his own mind at least, that he has so much. He has this beautiful country in which to live. He has the sun and the warmth and the beauty, and you have got nothing in comparison. The simple life. We have Satan's lies. Satan's lies in the gospel of consumerism. So which God shall you come under the yoke of? Do you remember I said, Jesus says, "Take my yoke on you, my yoke is easy." Satan says, "No, take my yoke on you because it's glittery and shiny." Whose yoke shall you come under? Because you can't come under both. How do I know that? Because of what we're going to be looking at in detail in just a minute. Jesus declared, he didn't suggest, he said this: you cannot serve both God and money. In Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. You see, God is Yahweh. Money is mammon. And Jesus is saying they are both gods. Who are you going to serve? Because you cannot serve both. If you choose to come under the yoke of Satan, the yoke of consumerism, then let me tell you this: money is God. Advertising is this God's profits. Your Visa card and double-clicking on your phone is the new way into this God's presence. And I love this one. Amazon.com is this new God's temple. Think about it. The solution to this problem? Step out from under Satan's yoke. Take on Jesus' yoke. What's Jesus' yoke? Just serve God. Live my lifestyle. Turn your back on the yoke of consumerism and complexity. Take on the yoke of simplicity. And this principle of simplicity is so important to Jesus that Jesus spoke about it in his manifesto of the Christian lifestyle. And you know what his manifesto of the Christian lifestyle is called, don't you? The Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus said, this is how you should live. And in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus spoke about this in such detail that 25% of the whole of the Sermon on the Mount is devoted to saying, take on my yoke of simplicity in your life. 25%. So, let us look at this very simply and break it down section by section. And to take a leaf out of Dudley's book, we're just going to let the Word of God speak for itself. Are you ready? I'm going to show it on the screen, but if you want to turn it to it in your scriptures, we're going to be looking at Matthew chapter 6, beginning at verse 19. Jesus says, speaking to his disciples, to you and to me, do not store up for yourself treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourself treasures in heaven, where moths and vermin do not destroy, where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The message is simple. Don't invest your time and your money and your energy into what will break, rot, get stolen. Put your money, your life, into what really matters. Your relationship with God and your love with others. Your love for others. What is your treasure? Your treasure is what is most important to you. Simple life. Jesus goes on to say, we're now looking at verses 22 and 23. Jesus says, the eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? Now, that really confuses people because they say, what's that doing here? What's that got to do with Jesus talking about store up treasures in heaven, not treasures on earth? Make your life simple. The Jews would have understood totally that this was incredibly relevant. The message of these verses is actually simple when you understand it from the way the Jews read it. To Jesus' Jewish listeners, a healthy eye meant that you were focused on what was important. Do you get it now? Your eye, it's healthy because I'm focused, I'm looking at what's really important in life. And what's really important in life is what? My relationship with God. Caring for those who are in need. But our eyes are unhealthy if they're focusing on what is not good. Because if it's not good, it's bad. If it's bad, then it's unhealthy. So if we're focusing on consumerism and working harder and harder to get more and more and more, living the complex consumeristic life, then we are unhealthy. Jesus says it as basically as that. Can I move on to the next bit? So Jesus then says, in verse 24, as we've already seen, no one can serve two masters. Either you'll hate the one and love the other, or you'll be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. The message is simple. Have you noticed that Jesus does not say no one should serve two masters? You should not serve God and money. He makes it a definite. You cannot. You cannot. There's no option. Simply follow and serve Jesus in all simplicity, or serve Satan and all the complexity of consumerism of the world money. Now we kind of take a little step back here. What is the way of getting off this merry-go-round of consumerism? Simplicity. But what is simplicity? Or put it another way, what is a simple way of living? Now, the first thing to do is to make clear, simplicity is not the same as poverty. In fact, if you go up to a poor man, a man who is starving and in rags, and say, well, you should feel blessed because you're living a simple life, they're going to punch you in the nose. Because they are not happy in their poverty, in their hunger, in their downtroddenness. Poverty is not good. When I was young, very young, I used to dream about what I wanted to be when I became an adult. For a while, I dreamt of becoming a ballet dancer. I know, I'm so ashamed of that, but I did. That obviously was not going to happen. Then I dreamed of becoming an astronomer. I like that, but I'm not scientific enough. And then, remember I was very, very young, I dreamed of becoming a monk. Not as when I put it into Word and it changed it to monkey, to become a monk. Why? I just loved the idea of living in a monastery, a simple life with no responsibility except walking around in a flowing brown tunic and praying and reading the Bible all day long. I loved their vows, you know, the 3 vows. I loved the idea of the vow of obedience, following a good rule of life. I loved their idea of the vow of chastity. Well, I did then. And I loved their vow of poverty. It seemed so good, seemed pretty attractive to me. And I sort of got disillusioned when I saw them with mobile phones and wallets. And this summer, when I went on honeymoon to Corfu, with great interest, we watched a monk walking into a shop. And we stood outside wondering, what's he doing in the shop? And he came out with his wallet of tobacco in order to make his cigarettes up with. So I did get disillusioned with it. You know, poverty is not the lifestyle, the yoke that Jesus modeled. You know that Jesus did not live in poverty, don't you? Jesus was well clothed. In fact, his clothes were so good that when he was at the cross, rather than tear these clothes, they decided to cast dice for them to see who would get it because it was too good to tear. So he was clothed well. We're told he had nowhere to lay his head, but he always was given somewhere to lay his head. We're told that he was given food to eat and that there were women who helped support him and his disciples out of their own means. So simplicity is not poverty. So what is simplicity? It's this. Simplicity is saying, I'm going to live only by what I need, rather than what I want. Simplicity is living simply with less. Simplicity means no longer being driven to get more and more and better, all the stress that goes with this and the confusion that goes with never-ending choices to make. Simplicity actually might even mean, and I'm learning this now as I'm trying to shoehorn two houses into one, simplicity means getting rid of all the stuff that gets in the way. Stuff! In the garage at the moment, I've got 1,000 books that I've got nowhere to put. And I'm going, and I'm under stress. And God's saying, just get rid of it. And I'm going, no! I'm battling against the simplicity of God because I've been under the yoke of complexity and much. Get rid of all the stuff that gets in the way of focusing on that which is important to us. Now, Richard Foster, who wrote the seminal book on the disciplines of the disciple, he wrote this about simplicity. He called it an inward reality, which is, I don't need this stuff. I just need Jesus. An inward reality that can be seen in an outward lifestyle. I just need Jesus. Inward, so I just get rid of this stuff. Outward, I don't need it. And it just causes me anxiety and stress. So simplicity is about more than money and stuff. It's about your whole life. It might be about decluttering your wardrobe. How many pairs of shoes have you got? It might be, but it's more than decluttering your wardrobe. Simplicity is about decluttering your life, removing all those things and distractions that cause stress in our lives. Just get rid of them. And then to live intentionally for Jesus. Enjoying what we have. And they say that simplicity is learning to live with open hands. Consumerism is like that. It's mine. Simplicity is what I have, I'm going to share with you. You can have it. I don't need it. You have it. Simplicity is a way of keeping us connected to God in a world which is tugging us in every direction. So that's the little break. Now back on to the text again. Jesus carries on and gives us examples of what simplicity means. So back to Matthew chapter 6, verses 25 to 27. Jesus says, therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? Again, I don't need to explain what Jesus is saying here. The message is simple. This is Jesus' first picture showing what life without complexity will look like. Freedom from stress and worry and anxiety as we trust God to provide for our needs. If God looks after the birds, then surely he can and will look after me. No, he's not calling me to sit down and watch television all day long. He's calling me to work and to work hard. But to work hard for what I need, trusting in him to provide. Jesus then goes on to say, verses 28 to 30, and why do you worry about clothes? If you think people don't worry about clothes, then drive along to the outlet centre this afternoon, and if you can wait patiently to get in through the traffic jam into there, you'll see that everybody is buying clothing after clothing after clothing after clothing that they don't need. See how the flowers of the field grow. They do not labour or spin, yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendour was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? The message is simple. Again, we have the promise of Jesus that God will provide for our needs. So we're told, turn our back on Satan's yoke. Because Satan's yoke of consumerism, I've got to have more and more and more and better and better and better, simply leads to worry, burdens and exhaustion. And then Jesus goes on to summarize by saying this in verses 31 and 32. So, Jesus says, do not worry, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or what shall we wear? For the pagans run after these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. He says the pagans run after these things. In this context, pagans means anyone who is under Satan's yoke of consumerism. When you're under Jesus' yoke, you're not a pagan, you're a disciple. So don't run after these things. The message is simple. And so, Jesus now finally, at the end of this long statement, Jesus finally now is going to tell us what his yoke is. Satan's yoke is more. The gospel of more will make you happier. Lie. Jesus now says, this is my yoke. Take this yoke on you. It's easy. It will bring you peace. It will bring you rest. It will lift the weariness off you and the burden off you. It's not seeking for more and more. It's not working harder and harder to get the things that the God of money seeks to entice us with. No. You want to know what Jesus' yoke is? Here it is. Verses 33 and 34. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. The message of simplicity is simple. Get out from under Satan's yoke of consumerism. Live a simple life. And what is a simple life? Just seek Jesus. Just seek to be part of his kingdom. Live kingdom life. And here's the good news. All the things that you need will be given to you. And here's the even better news. And I'm going to give you some of the things you want as well. I might not this year give you that new car which you hanker after. But if I'm going to give you nice things because I love you. And I'm your Father. But live the simple life. Get out of the rat race, because the good life is the simple life. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. That's a good recipe for rest and for peace. Simple. Amen.
Yeah, thank you, Pastor Pete. That message reminds me of a movie I saw some time ago. You've probably seen it, God's Not Dead. Anyone seen that? Yes. It's called God's Not Dead. And one of the statements the pastor kept making, he would keep saying, when God tells him to do something he obviously doesn't want to do, he says, it may not be easy, but it's simple. All you have to do is just do what you're told. Yeah. It's not easy, but you have to make that choice. It's up to us to do that. So thank you very much for the message, Pastor. Okay, we're going to continue today in the service by singing Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, even I know that.
behind you and before. He will sustain you through this journey from now and evermore. Never sleep, my steps behind your way. For the one who holds the night is the sovereign of my days. He will keep you from all evil, behind you and before. He will sustain you through this journey from now and evermore. He will keep you from all evil, behind you and before. He will sustain you through this journey from now and evermore.
As we bring the service to a close, we'd like to say goodbye to those who are watching online. We will be continuing the service on our Teams platform for those who are members of the house. But we hope you've enjoyed the service and we hope you'll join us next week. Before we sign off, we'd like to say a blessing over you, and I'd like to invite the church to join us as we do so. May the Lord keep you and bless you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen. Have a lovely Sunday and hope you'll join us next.